Good afternoon, I'm Karen Holmes Ward. Welcome to Cityline. Today we have a preview of some of the productions in Boston this season. We're going to begin with Arts Emerson's offerings, including the Wampanoag Nation's We Are the Land, the story of the tribe's relationship with the earth, how it was taken away, and the future of the Wampanoag people. The Book of Life, a collection of letters written by ordinary Rwandans after the trauma and recovery from genocide. And the real James Bond was Dominican, the story of a Dominican boy growing up in Queens who finds out the inspiration, the true inspiration, behind the 007 series. And we're kicking off the show today with Arts Emerson Director of Artistic Programming, Ronnie Panoy. Hi.
Hi, glad to be here.
How you doing today? Wow,
So
lots
good.
of interesting stuff coming up. So let's start with We Are the Land. Explain the premise of the play.
Absolutely. So the Wampanoag Nation, clearly their nation has been stewarding these lands for over 10,000 years, and they've been here long before settlers came onto these lands. And it's been very rare that they get a chance to tell their story, all the way from pre-contact to present day. So that's really the premise of the work, is a group of Wampanoag tribal members telling their own story from then until now.
So what do you think will make this story compelling to Boston audiences?
Absolutely. So I think we often hear a lot about one particular side of history. We really know about the Freedom Trail. We know about our founding fathers, but this side of history just is not known. And we're all for at Arts Emerson restoring the dominant American narrative and including the full history.
How did this particular play come together?
Yeah, so I got a phone call from the most wonderful Siobhan Brown, who's the director of the piece and also Mashpee Wampanoag. The piece had been put together as part of a Mayflower 400 event in Plymouth, UK, and they were looking for a way to be able to bring the piece home. And so when the ask was given to us of would you host this, the answer of course was yes.
Is there a personal connection?
For me? Oh, absolutely. So I'm Laguna Pueblo and Cherokee personally. And so in taking this position 2 years ago, it was really important to me to be in right relationship with the indigenous peoples of these lands.
Excellent.
So I'm really honored to host it.
Excellent, excellent. So moving on to the Book of Life, fill in some of the background on this performance.
Oh, absolutely. So this is a piece I'm incredibly excited about. So Kiki Katese is the lead artist of this piece, and this is really a rare opportunity to see Rwandan voices on stage, and moreover, I just think theater from the African continent is not represented nearly enough. And this is, frankly, I think the most joyous piece we have this entire season. It just, you walk out of the theater with such a sense of hope and of possibility and of deep reflection on your own history and what you decide to bring forward into the future.
You know, it's described as an effort to, quote, unlock life after trauma and find a humane way forward after genocide. How does this story attempt to accomplish that and uplift?
Absolutely. So Kiki is, her work in Rwanda has been in conflict resolution, has been in work as a creative entrepreneur, opening an ice cream shop, and also supporting the first ever women drummers of Rwanda. And in thinking about this piece, I think it's very tempting to look at it and think, oh, it's going to be about genocide, so this is going to be a really difficult and dark experience to live in. And while, you know, the truth of it is very dark, the work that Kiki does in bringing that into the future is so powerful in saying, what do we actually carry forward after the worst thing has happened? And so she does that in reflections with multiple folks who were a part of that chapter in Rwanda's history, and really through the joyful nature of all of these other women drummers on stage, really asking us to think about what is the future of Rwandan people and for Rwandan women in particular.
All right, now your next show, it's called The Real James Bond Was Dominican, certainly a lighter topic, and it's been said that Ian Fleming's character was based on a man named, let me get this right, Porfirio Rubirosa. He was a playboy, a diplomat, international polo champion, race car driver, bon vivant, man about town. So the play is about a Dominican boy from Queens who finds out that the real Bond is Dominican.
Absolutely. So yes, Porfirio Rubirosa is the real James Bond. And I didn't know this until I heard about this project in particular. But Christopher Rivas, the lead artist, Dominican man from Queens, shares this story. And it's just something that that, as with many histories, was a bit erased and whitewashed. So I had no idea that the inspiration for James Bond was in fact Dominican. So this piece really takes you through the history of that man and what it means for a Dominican man today to hear that history and have it inform his own life.
There's probably a very deep message behind the play, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, masculinity, especially in Latina cultures, is something that can be really tricky. So Christopher really digs into this in the piece about what it means to be a man and how learning this connection to this history really affects how he grows up in the world and thinks about his own masculinity.
You know, talking about identity, there was a lot of talk about the next James Bond being Idris Elba, who I love, and the next James Bond being an actor of color. But it met with some backlash, and Elba has kind of taken himself out of the picture, so to speak.
Yeah. No, and I think this is exactly why a piece like this is so important, because we make so many assumptions that white representation and Eurocentric representation is the default, when so many of the inspiration and real life individuals behind some of our most compelling stories are really representing the global majority. So I really hope that this works like Christopher's really help set the record straight and also really inspire a new generation of folks to think about whether they can be center stage. I mean, Dominicans are some of the largest, community we have of Latina folks in the city of Boston, and their stories are rarely told. So I'm really delighted that we can bring this piece.
Arts Emerson always has such a diverse variety of programming every year, and certainly coming up in the next few months. Is there an overarching theme to the shows that Arts Emerson likes to present?
Absolutely. Well, for sure, we have an ongoing commitment to international work. So we always look to put the world on stage and the full world on stage. In addition to that, we're really interested in restoring an American dominant narrative. So thinking about what is the dominant story we tell ourselves about this country and about our role in the world, and how can the stories that we put on stage actually really shift that narrative so that we can all see ourselves in it and also think about the future a little bit differently. So that's one of our core goals.
Excellent. Ronnie Pinoy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Karen.
All right. Now, here are the dates for the 3 performances, and we're going to post a link to the rest of the season's calendar on our website at WCVB.com. Up next, reinterpreting a stage classic, the new take on Madame Butterfly, the reason behind the transformation. That's next on Cityline. Also on our arts calendar this month, China Arts and Entertainment Group's production of Mulan. It's at the Bach Center Wang Theater, September 23rd and 24th. And next month, We Move in Colors at the Strand Theater. It's a fusion of dance, poetry, music, and visual art to illuminate the profound narrative of the African-American journey. It's in Boston for 2 shows on October 6th and 7th.